Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Mungalow Critic Show with Abby and friends. Hey, I purposely do this every time now just to annoy Ron. Hello, guys. Oh, my days. What has this week been? In fact, since last week. Well, but let's say beginning of this week. This week has been a bit yikes. I think that's the way to put it. But let's start with some good news first before we go into anything. I told you guys I got my part as the witch in Hansel and Gretel. I'm enjoying, the entire process. So of course we had to write our own script and everything, and we finally got our scripts ready. So I have my script here, is highlighted. I'm learning my lines. Get ready to deliciously consume some children. So yes, got that. And then what else happened? Yeah, well, we're rounding up for you know college and the university. I've been working with some students at the university, and just to see them flourish and grow and everything is really good for this, for the morale. It's like, thank you for all your help and everything. So that's really nice. And on Thursday, I'm going to be joining other students to conduct a class. So I'm excited about that. Although I'm tired, I'm not going to lie. I'm excited. I'm excited for it. I must tell you the truth. I am. So then some really crap things happened in my home country, Nigeria. A boy got basically killed by his classmates, or maybe some people a couple of years ahead of him, because they wanted him to join some kind of society. We're not really sure about the details yet, but I think Ron has been following it. So let me bring Ron up. Hey, Ron, let me add you on. He's going to sing some Dorime or something for himself. So let's just wait. I knew he was, I knew he was going to do something like that. I knew it. Hey, background looking so gang gang. Now, wow. Okay. Hi, Ron. How you doing? You can't hear you. This your thing has started again. I can't hear you. You better fix this thing. Our special guest. We have a special guest coming on. I'm sure you've seen it in all our adverts and everything. We have a psych. I think
Can
she's
you
a
hear me now?
psychologist. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Hey. In fact, I'm gonna clap. I'm gonna clap. I'm gonna clap, 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 clap. Okay, Ron, welcome. How are you, sir? And then it got stopped. Ah. He's double echoing.
Now double props I they give you now.
No, no. How are you?
I'm fine.
How are you?
Oh, I'm not
Hey.
fine. I'm not too fine, but I can't leave. Uh, I can't leave this for I can't miss this for anything. I'm always going to be here.
Oh, you're an
Well,
absolute star. And you really have been holding my back up in the times I've been too ill to be on the show. So thank you so much for that. I really give you big props for that. Thank you.
it's not that I'm having my own flu. It's really making me crazy.
Oh, oh, sorry. Well, I didn't have flu. I just had a bad flare up of fibromyalgia. That's what I deal with every day.
Oh,
But I just had a bad flare.
obviously, yes. Yeah, yours is more serious. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm not saying
But
it's more serious. Though. What do you mean it's more serious? I'm just saying
no, but
that I didn't have
I'm not saying
flu. That's what I said.
Mine is just flu. It's just that,
Eh,
oh
ah,
God, man.
the same flu where they keep person. Fibromyalgia never
I'm in
keep person.
now.
People die from
I'm in
flu,
Nigeria now.
But fibromyalgia doesn't kill
So I,
people. It just makes your life miserable. That's all.
I see people die from it, but we are different.
Hey. Hmm.
So, my day has been so sharp. It's been
Eh.
so dealing with it, over medicated at some point because I was taking this what they call it, lemon stuff. Then I bought
Like
this thing they
lem
call
sip.
med lemon. Then I took paracetamol. I was just desperate to get it over with, but
Nah, yeah. You see, you have to let the flu work through your
yeah,
system.
something like that. Just trying
It's
to
chick
get myself together.
loads
But
of chicken
as you can
soup,
see,
hot tea, and let it just do its thing. The two times flu caught me was after I got
as you can
flu
see
jab.
here,
Dang, it was not fun, you.
that reminds
Hey
that
God.
reminds me.
South Africa, stop doing my brother like this. Why is your internet doing sway sway? Hey, South Africa, stop it oh. This joke is becoming not funny. In fact, it's not funny. It's not, but if it's a joke, stop it. Ah, well, while we're waiting for Ron to get back, as I said, our special guest is a psychologist. She actually specializes in like children's psychology, but of course she can touch around everything. She's in traffic, but she'll be joining us. And while I'm waiting for Ron, woo, someone I'm so excited to bring on, and I'm sure many men are happy that I'm about to bring her on. But before I bring her, let me bring her up. Let me bring her up. The one, the only, the amazing Bovitella. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's already dancing. I'll be waving up. Start doing your royal wave. Join us, royal wave. Your camera is not showing your face, so
Sorry. I'm old though. I can't
uh
anymore.
please, yeah, do
Okay,
your royal
okay.
wave. Hello. If Ron was here now, we'd have played the Dorime. Hey, serious
Abby, how are
Dorime fan.
you? How are you
I'm
feeling?
fine. Much
You look
better than.
amazing than you
Oh,
were.
thank you.
Yeah, that your hair suits you. When I do my hair like that, it does not suit me at all. I don't even know what I'm going to do with this hair. So,
My head is because everywhere I've been today, everyone's been like, "Whoa, girl!" I'm
no,
like,
you look
"Don't be
amazing.
salty, yo." I that means what your your face is not showing very well again.
Sorry.
Wait, I'll tell you a
Better?
hair. Yes,
Ah,
yes.
Jesus.
Ah,
Sorry.
it runs internet. Your own camera. I
Oh,
man, stop
oh,
and make
God.
my play.
Honestly. No vex, no vex.
How's your day been?
It's not been as productive as it should have been. I've just been talking on Facebook all day when I should be working, but thanks for asking.
Man, I avoid social media as much as I can. As for as long and as much as I can. I think I go on Facebook maybe once a week, and that is like really pushing it. WhatsApp, I try and go maybe 3 times in a day, unless maybe I see something really interesting or there's an interesting group, then
Topic,
I'll
yeah.
join in and I'll do yarn with them and play with them. But you know, I beg you, most of the time, well, because again, when you get too involved in shenanigans, then all kinds of stuff starts to come up. So I'm trying to like avoid
The
unnecessary.
drama. I get you completely.
I've been
I don't
told
even
if it doesn't if it doesn't concern you, don't choke your mouth inside though. I mean, like I had this very naive belief that if it was put on social media in any form, so whether WhatsApp, Facebook, whatever, if it was put on social media, it was put there for us, for anybody to come and say anything. to come and put your own two kobo, like
Exactly.
until they drag me like generator where a rope don't cut. Say, yeah, always doing bebelube, always jumping into conversation that doesn't concern you. But I was like, hey, the
Exactly.
thing, you say the thing it shock you. The thing shocked me. I was like, I was only putting my mouth. I thought it was Kidio, but apparently general consensus was I was tricking my mouth in things that didn't concern me. So I was just like, okay, at least you. And the thing is that you always try and learn a lesson. So I was like,
Mm.
okay, here's a lesson learned. So I just dialed back my involvement in everything
Mm.
because I was just like, if these people feel like this, then maybe
That's
that's the rule.
crazy. You
Although I
posted it
later
on
on got to
Facebook.
realize that, eh?
It's it's crazy. I mean, if you post something on Facebook and somebody is your friend and is allowed to comment, how can you not be mad that they commented? Like,
My sister,
I
I later
mean, what
on
is
was
that?
like, I beg, let me just respect myself. you know?
Honestly, that's why I don't really. I'm on Facebook,
Can
but
you
I
hear me?
mostly post on my own page. I don't run around so that people won't
Yes?
disrespect me.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Yes.
can. Run. Yes.
Yes, I think she's around. So let me
Oh
see.
yes. Oh, our special guest is
Woohoo!
around. But before we bring her on, I want you to quickly. So we will include it in the gist later on. Don't worry, we go yarn our own yarn later. Ron, you were saying something about today, apart from not feeling too great and all that.
Yeah. Is it about the kid?
Yes.
Um, I, from the bits I've got, you see, let's be careful how we look at things. I'm not even saying because I see the way everybody is getting emotional about boarding houses and everybody's angry, like everybody's mad, like over this issue. And I'm telling you, serious, man. A lot of things are going on on the internet now. Now people are calling out
Yeah, but people
seniors.
are being re-traumatized. They're remembering things
No,
that they
yeah,
buried.
people are calling out seniors from their school days. You
It's
know,
good.
so and I try to explain to people that the concept of boarding house didn't even start from Africa. So it's not
No,
like
it didn't.
you're
No, it's
attacking.
not. No,
It's
this start from
not
us
African.
now.
It's everywhere. And this bullying occurs everywhere there's a boarding house.
That's
So,
true.
and the way I see it is that boarding house can either make somebody or break somebody. Luckily for me, I was part of the make group. Recently, I've heard from people who say that the thing really damaged them, and I really feel for them. Everybody's not the same, and when you listen to their experiences, you can't but feel for them. Really traumatic. I've been reading a lot recently. Really, really traumatic. And
Ron, sorry, Ron. You know that I was one of the people that body school traumatized. I
I know,
have said it 1,000 times. I will never send my child to a boarding school. If God blesses me with a child, that child is
you know,
never seen inside boarding school. Lie, because
you know
boarding
funny.
boarding school.
Huh?
You know what's
Eh?
funny about Abby and I? You know what's funny about Abby and I?
What? Did you people go to
We
the same
actually
boarding
went to
school?
the same school. Right?
We went to
Same
the same school.
Abby was my senior,
That
right?
traumatized her, and you said made
Yeah.
you, Abby.
No,
In the
I
same
was
place.
actually his senior in school, but I
So
had a horrible
my
time.
senior.
Next time.
So like far my senior. So I'm like, how can you
Not
be
that
part
far, I beg. Which one is far,
of
far, my senior? Calm down.
the And you know what makes Abby so ridiculous the most? Abby was part of the kind of semi-pioneer set of my school. She only had one set of seniors, that's all. So I'm like thinking,
Really?
how did this
I only had one set of seniors, and I was
as
like,
So
and the
what
thing
did
hey,
he
about
had? It wasn't bullying. It was just being away from home.
no.
no she
Is that one? Just this one set of seniors that was touching your people's life like that?
they even transferred it down.
Jesus.
Ha!
So when she told me her experience, I was like,
Experience. Yeah,
the same
sometimes it's
school.
a matter of luck because of group behavior. All it takes is one bad senior, and then the rest of them will join them, and then
You
the thing
see,
will become like
there's
that's
something
how we
I
do
put
it
on
here.
several groups. Bumi, I just want to quickly read something I put on a couple of groups, right? Because I was reading everybody shouting about seniors, this, that, and I was like, look, yes, I get it. School, we have bullies and all of that, but even as we speak, we have bullies who are at work, who are on groups. Some people will create group and turn themselves to
Just
alpha
to
and
bully.
omega. I'll be fighting everybody. And I delete you. I delete you.
Power like this.
I'll be fighting everybody. Some people will form a page on Guinea
Hmm.
and on Facebook or Twitter and fight everybody. So I put this out on several groups after I sent out my thing about today's show. And I said it's very easy to point out bullying in others. However, care must be taken that one can recognize when bullying behavior is exhibited, encouraged, or participated in. That self-awareness is very important, or it will be a collection of logs in eyes seeking splinters. Because when
Wow.
when 2 or 3 people say, let's shun this person, and everybody too agree, we go shun them. That is bullying behavior. When one person say, let me bring this person, I want to drag, give us this person's name, let us join here and drag the person. Somebody you don't know, but you want to join and drag over something
That's
that
a
you don't even know
bullying.
whether it's true or
Same
not.
women that are
It's
posting up
bullying.
and down. The same
Wait,
women that
And then you
Abby, have you ever
well
been
said,
on
Abby. Well
Clubhouse?
said. Spot
Have you
on.
been on Clubhouse? Clubhouse.
me,
Yeah.
I craze. Ordinary WhatsApp self. I dey struggle. Now clubbers I won't go join.
Clubhouse for 2 days. 2 days I was on Clubhouse. 2 days. I had to
Nah.
leave immediately.
What happened?
They've invited me and I've adamantly said no.
Mad people, like mad people.
I don't go on it often, but you know what? What Abby said is so important because there's so many women right now, and I don't blame them. It's scary to think that somebody may be bullying your child, but we don't see when we ourselves bully, and that's problematic. All
Exactly.
this
Your
we're
house help,
dragging
their
this one.
house. You go, come on, will you come and do this? Because that house help cannot suck. Look at you, you poverty-stricken child.
Thank you.
That is bullying. So when we are shouting and we are shouting for these splitters, when we then check the log going there inside our eyes, small.
Exactly, and I love that phrase. Man,
She's
It's very important.
our
Yeah.
guest is our guest
Yeah.
panelist
So
is
our
here.
guest is here. Let me quickly read out a little bit about our guest. And then someone actually told me, please greet her. And they told me to give her a special greeting. Okay, I have to take my glasses off. So Miss Greatness Olorunfemi is a trained practitioner in the fields of counseling, coaching, and mentorship. So this is something that she does. She's trained. So please let us give a warm, resounding Mungalow croonings welcome to Mrs. Greatness Olorunfemi.
woo
I hope I said that right. Yes, yes.
So happy to have you.
You're welcome. Welcome.
Oh, I think a
Can you,
camera froze. Can you
I
hear
think,
us?
can you hear us?
She's muted. Unmute your mic.
I did mute
Greatness.
her.
She should unmute her mic.
Okay, I've unmuted her. Oh, I can't unmute her. She has to do it from her own end. You have to do it from your own end.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. I'm so
Hey!
grateful. I'm so sorry. I apologize. It's not in my
No.
habit to be late. Thank you.
It's fine. It's fine. It just gave us opportunity
Am
to
I
catch up and
muted?
gist some.
No, I'm not
We can
muted though.
No, you're not
we
muted.
can
We can hear you.
We can
Can
hear
you
you.
hear me
hear
now?
Yes,
yes.
yes. So I have a special greeting to
I'm
to
not
tell
muted
you.
at my hand. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can hear
We
you.
can hear you.
We can
Can you
hear
hear me?
you.
I
Maybe she
think
can't
there's a
hear
bit of
us.
delay. I think it's delayed. There's
Okay.
a bit of delay.
Okay.
So she's like several steps behind us.
Behind us. Okay.
This technology,
Oh God.
some days I'm amazed by technology, and sometimes I'm disappointed.
Listen, I'm a techie, and most of the time I don't even know what the heck is
uh,
going on.
I used to be a techie until I had my head injury, and since then technology confounds me. When my brother
Oh,
came to
Wow.
visit and he found out that I struggle with technology, he couldn't believe it because I built
You
my
used to
first
be.
computer.
Wow.
So imagine, from someone who built her first computer by herself to
To
now
now.
phones. I'm like, I beg, take the phone. I don't understand it. Since I had that accident, my brain has not
Being the
sat
same.
well. Uh, so
Oh God.
it's been tough. But I'm trying, Sha. I'm pushing myself. I'm pushing myself against. I want to show you people my screensaver. Can you see?
What's on
Oh,
it? Okay, can you guys excuse me real quick?
can you
I
see? Look,
need to
look, look,
find
look, look, look.
a pair of glasses that won't fall off my face. Oh, that's okay. Oh, you use that your picture. It's so nice. I love it. Okay, I'll be
That
right back.
picture,
I can't hear you.
is shocking me like why?
Oh, fine, gone. Oh, fine, gone. I love this.
I hope I'm
Sorry.
gone.
Oh, okay.
Hello,
So can you
Miss
hear?
Olor.
Can you hear and see
Yes,
me now?
yes. And can you hear and see us too?
Finally,
Hey,
loud
that's
and
great.
clear. Thank
You
you.
weren't late. You were right on time. You weren't late at all. And
Ah, yippee!
someone said to give you a shout out. In fact, I'm going to record as I'm giving you this shout out so she'll know that I delivered it. So Miss Princess Adenike Adedoyin Ajayi, the
Are
permanent
you
secretary
kidding
in Lagos.
me?
She said, "Hi, Abby.
Whoa!
Please say hello to greatness for me. Tell her Princess Adenike
Oh,
Adedoyin Ajayi, permanent secretary in Lagos
oh,
State." So, do you want to say
amazing!
a
It's
big
such
shout
a
out?
small world.
It's a
Yes, thank
small
you so
world.
much, princess. It's such a small world. Like I'm reminded every day to be very intentional about how I treat people because it's such a
Uh,
small world. You can't just
yes.
imagine what would be a mutual connection to that person that you either hurt or you demonstrate love to. Oh
Mm.
my God. Ah,
So,
thank
Princess,
you
I've
so,
delivered, and you've just heard everything. So, I'm handing it back to you. So,
thank
I'm sending
you,
that
thank
message
you,
to her now. Yeah. So,
thank you.
because when I put it out, and I put it on a lot of platforms, and
Oh,
I
thank
asked
you.
people to
And you didn't
spread it.
tag me. You didn't tag me. It's not fair now. You
Hey,
would
I'm
have tagged
sorry.
me.
It's Ron that is your friend now. I'm terrible with
Uh-uh.
social media, but in fact, let's do it now. Let's tag each other on Facebook. I'm
Eh,
terrible.
tag me everywhere, please.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Ron, can you send her my number so she can add me on WhatsApp? But what's your name on Facebook?
Greatness 80, but the 80 is like art together. On Facebook
Okay.
is art. Greatness art, Olorunfemi. But what's it called? Instagram and Twitter
Is it
is
the symbol
greatness.
at?
No, 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 no.
No,
As
no,
in
let's do Facebook
80.
first.
Yes,
Okay, at
yes. Just
Olorunfemi.
so when you tag me on Facebook, I can share the link. Do you understand? So I can share
Yes,
the
I'm
link so
just
that people
looking
can
for you.
also watch. My friends can also watch.
Okay,
Greatness 80.
I've added you as my friend.
Awesome. Let me just quickly accept.
So then I can do all the tagging and everything. So of course
Yeah.
very round, yes, and then we can spread it on because I
This
believe
one
that
that Mr. Ron is strangely quiet.
hey now me get him must do. He's a lie, oh, he's just waiting for us to finish our conversation. So
yes, to
I'll pass
catch
it
up.
out. I will pass it around, and then that way, because
Oh
I believe
gosh.
that today's episode, especially with you coming on, you are going to educate us on a lot of things. So I'm really excited about it. So before I go into my own questions that will come to you, I want to let everybody else that is on the screen say what they want to say to you. So Ron, let's start with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, like I've been
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
saying,
Bring it
you can
on.
you can hear me, right? So,
Yeah.
um, well, in light of what's been going on these few weeks with the bullying in the school, then we have children and adults who have
Yeah.
these suicidal thoughts that keeps reoccurring. I just felt that we need to talk about this, and these are all part of mental health. We shy away from these discussions. So I just said that today we need to trash it. And luckily for me, when the thought was just coming in, that's how I bumped into greatness. I don't know what's wrong with the internet now.
Nigeria, don't do us wuru wuru, I
Uh,
beg. Ah, she has
but
gone
it was
again.
around that they don't want us to they don't want
Ron,
us
this flu is
to
doing you bad
benefit.
though. You sound slightly drunk.
They want everybody to be strong. Why you guys laughing at me?
I'm not laughing at
He
you.
said you sound
It's just the
drunk.
way you.
You know, this laugh like you guys are even bullying me.
Ah,
Abby,
bully care.
you sound a little drunk yourself, right?
What's wrong with this network?
Well, technically, I am.
I want that kind of happiness.
You see,
Because I was having a bad headache, so I had to take a hit of my medication, and my
Something.
medication is of the strong type.
Okay. Oh gosh. Oh,
So
good
I'm a bit on the happy side today.
for you.
Can you hear
I
us?
apologize
Happy
though. I don't
Abby.
know what's going on.
Yeah, na Naija, we
Yes, I've
understand.
recharged my MTN at at Etisalat. Now I want to do Airtel again so that I have three backup. This is so strange and weird. I apologize. I'm not in my
It's
house,
fine.
so I'm coming from the highlands to the mainland, and I needed to because I'm exhibiting here tomorrow, so I needed to quickly come
Oh,
and set
okay.
up tonight after this conversation. And so you know the
No,
way it is. You don't know the network that is most active where you are. I was using
okay.
MTN, it tripped me off. I've changed to Etisalat. So I'm trying to recharge Airtel now. I always have all these lines so that we don't mess up
oh,
People
like
in
this.
other
I
part of the world
apologize.
will be looking at you
But
like, what?
for now that you can hear me,
you
let's
can
just
hear me.
go ahead.
Oh yeah,
Abby,
Ron, finish up.
Abby, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello? Oh, okay. How about now? Can you hear me now?
yes,
Can you hear me now?
yes.
Okay, so I'll just say that there's no better time than to discuss this thing. But now, and luckily, I was just watching a show when I bumped into greatness. Wow, I was blown away by the kind of things she was saying. Like, how can such a young person be so, she has been through a lot. She's been trained. She's traveled the world. Don't let her meek looks and their laughing demeanor deceive you. She knows. Anyway, will soon have her talk. So she will express herself.
I'm
Okay,
so
Bumi,
happy.
do you
I
want to
actually
say
have a
anything?
question.
Do you have a
Yes.
question?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's wait. Her greatness. There's a question for you already from Bumi. That's Bumi
Okay.
Teller. Say hi,
Hi,
guys.
Grace.
Hi,
Hi,
ma'am.
Grace.
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, So, I have a situation that I would want to explain to you, maybe,
Hey,
and a question afterwards. So, a few years back, my son actually attempted suicide.
so I'm
He
trying.
he took one pill. He took one
Jesus.
pill, and then he called me in the office and said that, he's really depressed and he
Uh,
just tried to end his own life. So I panicked. I ran home, and we found him a psychiatrist. And the psychiatrist said to me, because I was like, was that really an attempt at suicide, or was it a cry for help, like one pill? And she said, well, it depends on his understanding that sometimes that he may have intended to kill himself. He just didn't realize that it took more than one pill, and so that I should treat it as a very serious attempt on his life, like he
please, can I
attempted
interrupt you?
suicide.
Please, can I interrupt
Yeah,
you? Please, can
sure.
I interrupt you?
Yes.
Hmm.
This is okay. I just started hearing you. I just started hearing you when you said, "Now I just switched my network, and I'm hoping that this is better because this is usually the best in my house." So let's. I really really trust. Like, let me say a word of prayer, and this will serve to the end, and there'll be no interruption. So I just
And
started
then
hearing you at the point of attempted suicide. It took one pill. I didn't hear what you
Yeah.
said before. Then I
Okay.
apologize. Please.
No, no, no problem. You didn't miss much. I'm trying to set up a scenario for you before I ask the question. So I have two children. One of them attempted suicide by taking one pill. So when I spoke to his doctor,
Mm.
because I wasn't sure if the fact that it was just one pill meant that it was just more of a cry for help than actual suicide. And he said, you have to see this as a suicide attempt. So that's what I did. But that's not even the question. So I saw that as, okay, he's suicidal. I have to step in. And I just always had issues with drugs. Like, I don't like medication. I feel like medication for mental health issues should be the last resort. I feel like a lot of depression, even clinical depression, comes about because of the environment more than anything else, even though there's sometimes a chemical imbalance as well. So what I did was, I talked to him a lot. He was in therapy, and then I realized that he was struggling to make friends. He was slightly autistic. He discovered he was gay. He just felt socially isolated. It was socially awkward. People didn't like him, and he didn't know how to handle it. So I kind of trained him on how to make friends. I bought him new clothes. I got my daughter, who's older, to talk to some people in school. Basically, we ran interference to change his environment. And he blossomed. He became happy. He was fine for about 4 years. And then in his last year in high school, he went to live with his dad. His dad is an idiot. So unbeknownst to me, his dad took a job where he was like away 50% of the time. So my son was actually alone at home a lot, and we had no idea. Until one day, I got another call, this time from a friend of my daughter's who rides ambulances, telling me that they are on their way to my ex-husband's house because my son had just jumped out of the window trying to kill himself for the second time. And that shit fucked me up. I still have not recovered. Like,
Wow.
till I die, this is something I always worry about. So at that point, I just gave in, give him drugs. I can't risk, my son killing himself. And they put him on serotonin, I think. Uh, he's doing better now. He's in uni. That last attempt was like 3 years ago. He's not on serotonin anymore. But I just wanted to know what you thought about the whole drug versus environment solution to suicidal ideation.
Amazing. Like how I really empathize with you. I mean, being his mom, I can just imagine how you feel. I'm tempted to, go into therapy now to start asking how is he doing. But he's not here to respond, of course. So but do you think he's feeling better? Do you think he's gotten over the suicidal ideation?
Yes, but the fear is always there that it will come back. So he's the child that I always have to check on. He's the child that I always have to make sure he's not depressed.
Yeah,
He's the child that I always have to,
yeah.
you know, I can't
So
treat him like a
have
normal
you
child anymore.
absolutely, have you spoken with him to really know the cause of like, so let me start like this. So every emotion actually is triggered by a thought or a belief. Every emotion we feel, depression, anger, love, whatever emotion it is actually triggered by a thought or a belief. So you need to actually be get very very intimate with him. So what a therapist or a coach would do is actually to create a safe space. And I usually tell people that you as a parent should be the primary and the first safe space your children will have, such that it will be difficult for someone out there to really dig deep. Sorry, so someone was passing and talking, and I didn't want that to enter into the recording. It will be difficult for someone out there, right, to really penetrate into your child as you will do. However, that is the ideal. So the reality is that that is not what is happening, right? And so you need to either get a teens coach, which I serve as, to basically work with your teenager, or your child or your young adult to basically probe on really what's going on with you. What how are you what are you thinking about that is getting you to this point of contemplating suicide? I was suicidal as a teenager. Princess is here. Sorry. Sorry everyone. Good to see you, ma. Thank you so much for joining. I
Good
was
to see
suicidal
you
as a
too.
teenager, and that was because I had faced a lot of rejection. I had faced a lot of bully, a lot of basically a lot of abuse, starting from verbal abuse, which I believe that is the most detrimental abuse, because when you sexually abuse someone or you physically abuse someone, it doesn't go in deep when they have the right word, the right affirmation to redefine or reframe what happened to them. So you really need to, right now you are not clear, you're not even sure of what resulted into this suicidal ideation, and you really need to know, because for me, I took that decision for several reasons. I had issues with my O level results. I was, getting physically abused in the home. I was getting verbally abused in the home. It was all about my daddy and his general overseer. I've written a book on the story, Rescued by Love, why I cancelled my wedding. And it got me to that point where I just said in 2008 that I'm going to kill myself this year. I was 18 and I left my parents before I was 18, and I said, if nothing changes in my life this year, I'm going to kill myself. So it was, and I jokingly said this, I think earlier this year, I had an accident the very day I resigned to go fully into being an entrepreneur. My boss, just told me that I cannot allow you to be doing all the things you're doing on the side. You need to shut down everything you do on the side if you want to keep working with us. And I said, for me, what I'm doing on the side is actually purpose, and I will not shut down what I'm paid for what I'm made for. And I took that decision. Now, guess what? That very day that I went to drop my laptop and official phone, I had an accident. 2 good months I could not work. I know I got depressed because I couldn't have my bath. This is me that I have my bath like 3 times in a day. So it's all those things. And I started getting depressed. And I was like, okay, so if this was a client, what would you say to your client? Now I'm getting depressed because I'm unable to birth. And so what now that is because I knew that my emotion is stemming from a thought or a belief. But someone that does not know will just linger in that emotion and take an action. So I usually call it an acronym of TEA. T stands for thought, E stands for emotion, A stands for action. So you actually act based on your emotion. Everyone, when you're making a decision, is actually, people say, "Oh, no, I'm a very logical being. I take my my decision based on logic, based on my head." But hey, yo, just come to the reality today. We take our when I'm not saying there are not times when, but your heart needs to connect with your head when you take that emotion. So I had to tell myself that, hey, look here, the thoughts will start coming to your mind that, oh, okay, if I was still in paid employment, at least I'll be working from home because they know I had an accident. But hey, I had to start telling myself that this is a season of endless possibilities for me. I need to see it in a way that will serve me. And there's a phrase. Princess is also a professional coach. I'm privileged to be part of our, coaching process, coaching certification process, right? And one of the things we say to our clients is this belief or this thought, is it serving you? And what does that really mean? Is it really empowering you? Is it helping you to live optimally? Because as a therapist, we want you to move from a place of being dysfunctional to being functional. As a coach, I want to help you to move from a place where you're functional to being optimal. And you cannot coach wounds, you have to heal wounds. So if you are just lingering in that place of, oh, okay, I just check on him once in a while, it's good. But you really, really intentionally need to, and this is not me teaching you parenting, I'm just talking to you as far I'm recommending the solution, right? To say that you
No,
really need to be that
actually,
relationship.
you're spot on, and I already do that. Toby and I, we spend a lot of time discussing tools to cope with anxiety. Everything you said is absolutely spot on. Even I myself, I had issues with incessant thoughts, not being able to shut off the sound in my head. So I had to learn to meditate. I had to learn to arrest these thoughts when they start. I had to learn
Yeah.
to make sure they didn't spill over into an emotion that I couldn't get out of. So Toby and I actually we talk about this all the time. We have the lingo. He's in university. I spoke to him on Sunday, and he's like, "Oh, I have a lot to do. I'm a little, overwhelmed." And I said, "Okay, so tell me, what tools are you using when you get overwhelmed?" And he told me, he's like, "Okay, I stopped to watch certain shows. I have these bunch of games, and then I talk to you also." So we do actually have to have those kind of conversations, and I just wanted to reiterate that because you are spot on. For anyone who's listening, it's not just about checking on how are you; it's about actually giving them practical tools that they can use
Yes.
when
Yes.
things start to
Yes.
go crazy. So I agree
Yes.
with you. Well said, Grace. Thank
Yeah,
you.
because you don't want him to always be your there's something called anchor. I don't coach, I don't work with clients that make me their anchor. I don't want you to be my anchor, because I don't want to be your anchor, rather, because I want you to be. Now let me put this out there. One of the fundamental principles of coaching is based on the premise that every human being is fundamentally adequate. We believe that you have what it takes inside of you to become, I mean, I like to call it to unleash your greatness, right? Because the seed of greatness is actually resident inside of you. What I just do with you is to partner with you to help you dig it out and find these things and help you deploy it. So,
Mm.
since he's in the university, I'm assuming he's a teenager or a young adult. And so
As a
I
young
like the
adult,
kind of relationship you have, such that you're no longer treating him as your child. You are not having that conversation as a friend. Because at that stage, a teenager is actually not looking for mommy. And that's why I call myself the teenager's friend, because they want a friend that will create a safe space that will never judge them. I've been in coaching session with teenagers and they'll tell me, Coach Greatness, do you believe those sheets they say that there are only two genders? I'm like, okay, like how many genders do you think we have? And this girl rose up and told me there are 66 genders. Yo, I said, whoa. And hey, you have to, because you have, as a professional, you're trained to, you cannot now act like the same way I acted right now. You have to, you must not act like you're doing something that you're not doing. Wow, interesting.
Hey.
Please tell me more. I mean, tell me all the 66 genders. Can you still hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Network. Can you still hear me?
Yes, we
We
can.
can
Yeah.
We can.
hear you.
Okay, so you have to be that safe space where they know that when they hear things outside, because you don't even know where or wherever source they heard this 66 gender thing, but they could tell me that because I trust you that you don't judge me. Like, what do you think when all these adults say we only have two genders? And I had to listen to them that, oh, okay, where is your source? How credible is this source? You understand? Like, you have to, and because as a teenager, they really don't want you to treat them as a child. Neither do they want you to treat them as an adult. Do you understand? So you're in that
Mm.
place where you are also helping them know that, oh, I trust you, that whatsoever you're saying, you are making an informed decision, right? So where did you get the source? How credible is this source? As they are answering those questions, they will come to that place, they'll be like, that thing is actually not right. Do you understand? So you have not basically told them it's wrong. You just ask question, because what's the most powerful tool of a coach is questioning, listening, into your intuition. Like, you're listening with empathy. You're not listening to talk. There's a phrase we use. Are you actually listening, or you're waiting to talk? So you're listening with empathy to see, like, where is this person coming from? What is it like? Where is he taking this decision? Like, where is this actually coming from? So those are the tools I'll just present out there to say, can we be more empathetic when we hear that people are bullies? Both the bully and the bullied actually need empathy. That's the truth.
Now,
That's
before
it.
you continue, greatness, before you continue, I want to quickly welcome to our forum Candy. Hey, Candy. She's one of our
Welcome,
panelists, one of our regulars.
Candy.
She's a nurse in the States,
Oh,
and
well.
she's one of our panelists. Bumi also is in the States. Ron is in South Africa. I'm in the UK.
Yeah.
And then we have Princess Omova. Oh my God, thank you so
Yay!
much. Thank you
Thank
for
you for
joining us.
joining us.
She's the
I'm going to
permanent.
put her on the spot.
Oh my God, I need to read that thing again because I need I'm
I,
sorry.
I
Did you
want
get
to
my
put her on the
message?
spot.
I couldn't join earlier. I was on the
But
road.
did you get my message? So Princess
I
Adenike
did.
Adedoyin Ajayi, she's the permanent secretary in Lagos State. Thank you so much for joining us. And did you get my
Thank
message?
you.
I sent you a message when I was telling you.
I
Yeah.
did. I did indeed. And
Okay.
I heard greatness, speaking and ah!
Thank you so much for joining. Now,
Thank you.
greatness, you were saying something, and I want to quickly read out something that I had put out. When I put out
Yeah.
about our show, right? When I put it out, I had actually written it uh, and put it out on other platforms, right? And this is what I said, because I was saying to Bumi earlier, I said, a lot of people are coming out now and shouting about, oh, a senior so and so bullied me in school, which is true. Ron and I went to the same school, but I went to the girls' school, he went to the boys' school. I'm his senior by a couple of years. I had a terrible time there. I was severely bullied. I had a terrible time in school. I hated school. I was like, and I keep saying that never in my life would I send my kid to a boarding school ever. And I only had one set of seniors, just one set above me. And it was a horrible time for me. Meanwhile, Ron had a
Oh,
great time in school. He had a wonderful time in
wow.
school. So imagine it's
Wow.
the same school, and the experience was different. So
Wow.
but I was not thinking that okay, a lot of people are coming to go, but the things I have seen within social media, within people living in places, and I said I put this out, and I want to read it out to you, and then we'll we'll take it from there. So I said it is very easy to point out bullying in others. Care must be taken that one can recognize when bullying behavior is exhibited, encouraged, or participated in. that self-awareness is very important, or it will be a collection of logs in the eyes seeking splinters. Because you are complaining that senior so and so bullied you, but you call your friends to go and drag somebody because the person offended you. Give us the person detail, we will join you, we drag the person like generator. You will form a group. Inside that group there are cliques. You will not decide that, oh, this set of people, when they say anything, we will shun them, we will not talk to them, we will put them as outcasts, we will do this, we will do that, we'll be sending subs to them, and you are
Where is the
claiming that
lie?
other people, some people are bullies.
Are
Yeah, bully
bullies.
yourself. Yeah, you have a
I
house
do.
help, you are being mean to the house help. Hey,
Yeah.
you this child from no background, blah 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 blah. Or your son
Yeah.
brings a girl to your house and says, mommy, I want to marry this girl. You want to marry this Ajakutama mommy, blah 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 blah. So the bullying circle is bigger than what we want to. So that thing where he said that empathy, because I was bullied and I had to come to a place of forgiveness for my bullies. For
Wow.
not for them,
Wow.
but for myself, for my own peace of mind, because
I love
I'm
that.
diagnosed bipolar, right? So I
Mm.
have bipolar, and I also have chronic depression. And I had to take ownership of, but I'm low end, so I don't use medication because I'm also on some very strong medication. But I had to take care of my own mental space. And the best way I could take care of my mental space was be like, they don't know any better. Let me leave them, let them be. So some in some groups, I'll post what I want to post, get out. Whether they like it, they don't like it, Bashiga, it doesn't concern me. Some groups, I'm very, very involved. I will play, I will do that kind of thing because, okay, I can see that these are mature people, they have sense. I can be myself with them, I can play with them. Some Facebook pages, I'm just there like this. I don't talk anything. On Twitter, some subjects will come up. And me, I always tell Ron, I say, me, I always give any news that comes up on Twitter or Facebook 3 days. Because within that 3 days, the truth, the in between, and the lie will come out at the same time. But if you rush and go
Very
and
true.
dodge,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that thing where you said empathy for both the bully and the bullies, because even
Yeah.
if you're being bullied, you have to
Yeah.
really look at this and go, wow, there isn't really much going for you in your life if you
Mm.
are actually actively, you're gingered, your swagger is gingered that well, am I ignore any? We are going to ignore this person. We are not going to talk to them. We are going to your life must be really small. There must be nothing going on inside that
Yeah.
life,
Yeah.
so you have to have a bit of sympathy, like yeah,
Mm.
okay,
Mm.
so please, I'm enjoying what you're saying. Does anybody else have a question?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Madam Bumi
Oh,
wants
Bumi
to
has, yes,
say
yes.
something.
I don't want to hug the whole thing. I just wanted to piggyback off what Abby was just saying. Um, First about about girls, this is a fact. And Nigerian women, black women, are especially susceptible to this herd mentality thing. As someone who grew up amongst them, I know us. And I have to, I have to carry myself very, very delicately on Facebook so that I don't get. I have so many friends, people like Bumilayo, they are the same age, just getting dragged up and down because we're so cliquey. And I just try to avoid those cliques because the minute you're into a clique, there's a lot of peer pressure, even for adults, to behave a certain way. I mean, I cannot tell you the amount of scandals I have witnessed on that stupid Facebook amongst grown ass women pulling each other down. It's crazy. However, and this is the point I wanted to make, what I just said is true, and I'm not involved in most of that. You can ask Candy, they know me, but it doesn't mean I'm perfect. And this is the problem that some of us make, is that we have blind spots. And I posted about that this morning. I don't join cliques. I don't like to, join people who want to bully people or let's drag this. I don't have time for that. But I always had this impression that I myself I'm a good person. I don't bully people. And several people had tried to hint at me over the years that actually you can be verbally abusive. But in my mind, I didn't see it. I'm a good person. If I'm abusing you, it means you have done something to deserve it. And I was totally married to this idea that I'm so perfect, I don't abuse anybody. It took a long time. It took a lot of spiritual work, actually. And I'm surprised at how much spiritual and psychological overlap constantly. Like when Grace said, both the bully and the bully deserve sympathy. That is a spiritual understanding that you have to get that we are both capable of both. We're capable of being bullied and being the bully, right? And then there's something else that Abby also said that just sounded spiritual to me, but I don't want to get off topic. But what I really wanted to say was it took me a lot of spiritual work. It took meditating. It took reading Carl Jung and understanding shadow work for me to realize I had a blind spot about my own ability to be verbally abusive because I'm so considerate, I'm kind. I didn't realize that there are times when, specifically when I'm stressed or under pressure, I'm mean in my speech and I did not even know. If you told me I was a bully, I would have fought you because I'm the kind of person that's always fighting for the underdog. Justice warrior, this, that, the other. So some of it is not even intentional as well. And we're not always aware of how we're coming across to other people.
Yeah, you are so right, Bumi, because Bebe Lube, I've been accused of Bebe Lube. I accept it. I accept it because, again, my belief is if you put it on social media, then it is for us to chook our mouth inside. And then I was told, hey, you chook your mouth in things that doesn't concern you. I was like, okay. And I had to sit down and think. I'm like, okay, and it's that thing of self-awareness. And for some people, they think that when they tell you something and you go back and you reflect, that is you leaked. Mo fupa, jokoni. Again, yeah, is that how small your mind is? I'm going to sit down and reflect on myself and think about, okay, how am I going to, because you said some things, at least if 3-4 people are saying something, then there must be some element of truth.
Exactly.
Even if it is a group of cliquey people that have decided that they want to form clique and they want to do this to this person, blah, 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 there will still be some element of truth in their clique. And you sit down and you look through it and you pick that and say, okay, it's true. You too, your mouth, everything you must chook mouth inside, now waiting. That kind of stuff. And you work your way through it. Right. But it's very, very interesting how a lot of
people
vocal
don't have that
people
awareness.
Fight for others who feel that they are Voltron and they lack that self-awareness that maybe you're Voltron.
There's something called Johari's window. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Yes. I was going to tell Princess to talk about the Johari window. So I'm glad she jumped on it.
I have never
heard of that. I can spell it Johari. So Princess, go ahead, ma'am.
Johari's window. And Johari's window is just looking at everybody's lenses and your own lenses, looking at yourself. So on one corner of the window, just imagine a square, and a square that is also divided into 4, just like a window. There's one, which is what you know about yourself. That's one part of the window. So you know all of those things, some of those things that you know about yourself. Then the next, little square is about what other people know about you. And so those are, for example, somebody who's saying you are doing shaboy okay, you're putting your mouth, and you might not even be aware that you're doing that. So what other people know about you. Now there's another square window that is what you both know. So what you know about yourself, and you know that other people know about you. So that's like a common space. That window is like a common space where everybody is aware. You understand? I'm aware that you are aware of what I am aware of. And then there's another window where you yourself don't know, other people don't know. So that's the blind spot. And
Yeah.
it's situational. Now, you all know that there are certain things that would happen to you, and you'd react in a certain kind of way. And you're like, oh my goodness, did I just react like that? It could be negative, it could be positive. So as you are in shock about your reaction, other people are also in shock about that reaction, because that's the first time both of you,
You are
you the
finding out.
actioner and you're just discovering that side of you. And that's one thing that's going to be a continuum. You can never know yourself in its entirety. It's not possible. All our actions and reactions are situational, but some we are already familiar with because it happens to us all the time. So we know exactly how we're going to react. We know exactly what we're going to say because it's sort of part of our behavioral pattern. But there are some things that is still locked in there inside of us. And that's where you say they say some people, they snap. You know, when that phrase that they say, oh, somebody just, I think it just snapped.
Or when you get triggered.
You understand? And that snap simply means that there's something that you've never exhibited before. That a certain action brings about that reaction in you. And you will be surprised or amazed at yourself. Yeah. Sometimes it's a total calmness where you would have otherwise took a gun and you're seeing yourself really calm, and everybody's looking like, I can't believe that she's calm. That's unusual. And then they're watching. Is something going to happen? Is the bubble going to burst any minute from now? Because they're still trying to get you. And you yourself, you're thinking about it and saying, where did that come from? I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything, you know? So that's something else you've discovered about yourself. And then you hold on to it. If it's a positive thing, you want to keep allowing it to happen. Because you've discovered that you have the ability to be calm in extreme situations such as this. And then you go back into that and draw it back whenever you get into that situation. And if it's a negative one, you recognize it. And then you start talking to yourself, I don't ever want to be like that again. I've just discovered that I have the ability to be that bad or to react that badly. And so you start talking to yourself. And that's how we find a balance in life as we move along. That's how we find our balance. That's where you begin to now, the spirituality comes in to say, you know, what's good, what's not good, what is good, what is evil. And you start balancing your life. I don't want to tilt towards evil. I want to be 99% good. I just live that little fraction because you never know what's still inside of you that you are not aware of. So, you know, so you can Google Johari's window and he'll explain more to you.
Wow, I'm definitely going to look at it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Before we go on, I just want to Asemota Joan is here. Joan, can you please put on your camera? She's actually several years my junior in the same school. So maybe she can talk about her own experience. Maybe her own experience was better than mine. I hope I didn't bully. Well, I don't think I didn't bully anybody.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much, Princess, for that.
You were a wish. You were a correct wish. So it has happened. I will apologize. No. So, Joan, please, if you can come on, that would be wonderful because we can see you, but we can't see your face unless maybe she's going to do something. But Candy, do you have any questions? Because I can see that I think you've just come from work, right? You're looking a bit tired. Have you just come from work?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Welcome.
Nice. Yeah. I don't know.
Spending money is exhausting, right, Candy?
Huh? Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Money is exhausting, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, while Candy is getting herself together, let me read some of the comments that we've been getting, and then we'll go back to more questions. So, Kayode Atobatele, who's one of our panelists, and he's always looking for my trouble. I know that is me. He's saying this thing to. It's me. He said, "I want sharp mounted." I know it's who he's talking to. Then he said, is it not a Nigerian tradition to always talk like it is fights? Nigerian kids abroad describing their parents ask, why is my mom always angry? Because it's almost like a norm that Nigerian parents are constantly shouting at their kids, like, it's like our parents did it, and then go on to repeat it. Now let me address briefly, because you went and put me on blast and was shout mouthed. Now, in my work with my psychotherapist, I found out that my defense mechanism in school, because we schooled in the north, was I used to read a dictionary back to back, right? And I love reading books. So if a senior comes and says something, I'll not say it in the most innocent, sweetest way. Yeah, you're a Nikon poop. I'm person like, what is that? It sounds like an insult. I'm like, no, it means that you're a lovely person. I mean, I'm laughing inside. It was my own tiny way of getting revenge on the bully. Like, maybe you can punish me and show me shege, but that is all you can do. Me, I will insult you and this and that. So that was my own. And then, of course, your vocabulary grows. You start to learn how to really like this. Your mouth is slick. You're fast on the beat, because okay, if this senior brings it like this, me to pata you will punish me, but I will use my mouth and at least finish you. So even as I'm soaking here and serving punishment, you'll be thinking about your life. And it was something that I had started to bring, not just for defense against people who I felt were trying to intimidate me. It now became my modus operandi in a way, like, hey, Abby, you better be, if Abby come now, you don't know what will come out from her mouth. And I had to work with my therapist to find a way that, okay, your mouth is slick, you know how to say things, and it can be funny, but it can also be cruel. But can you take away the cruelty and leave the funny? And it took a lot of work, and I'm still working on it, of course, constantly. You can never be perfect. You're constantly working on it, because greatness, we're trying to add you, but I don't know what's going on. If your camera isn't on, it's hard to add you on. So please, if you can put your camera, so I don't know if anybody else has that experience here, where you develop something as a protective mode, and then it now almost started to backfire on you. I don't know if anybody has that experience.
It's actually, it's a very common phenomenon. It can be described as what they applaud will destroy you. It's our personality. If we were all healthy, right, we would all have the exact same personality. There would be no concept of somebody is an extrovert or an introvert, because you just be normal.
Can you hear me now? Okay, someone is talking.
You would just be normal. You'd be the right amount of introvert or extrovert. So personality is nothing but how we cope with the world, which is exactly what you're saying, Abby. And sometimes it can be a downfall. So like if you become the class clown to cope with being bullied, that's all fine and dandy. But if you now let it spill over to the rest of your life while you're clowning around in situations where you shouldn't be clowning around, and the danger is no longer there, it just becomes your personality, then it becomes problematic.
Okay, I just wanted to. Okay, go ahead, Princess. Sorry, go ahead, ma'am.
Do you know that that's what is called coping device?
Yes, exactly.
Every human being has a coping device, which gets developed with things that happen to you. And I must say that nowadays, our kids don't have that. A lot of the children born nowadays don't have any coping device. And that's why you see the suicidal, the this and that. There's something that's called the star child syndrome. In when we do our counseling and all of that.
What syndrome?
Star child syndrome. Star child.
Star child.
Star child.
Yeah, a child that is very good, very clever.
Gotcha.
But they have a syndrome. We find out that most of the clever children, they commit suicide.
Because they're under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that.
Look at the statistics of the younger ones that commit suicide. They're usually very clever,
Yeah.
and it's because they do not have any coping mechanism.
Yeah, so I went to high
Because
school.
there's so much. Sorry, go ahead, Kinga.
So I was gonna say I went to high school in South Korea, and it's they go to school Monday through Saturday,
Oh,
in typical
whoa.
Korean schools,
That's
Monday through Saturday. I didn't go to a Korean school, but like the Korean schools, they go to school Monday through Saturday, and even at my school, the Korean kids were, I mean, perfection was essentially demanded from them, like perfection, like
Wow.
the perfect student. No, I mean, an A minus is
Luckily,
like a kid in my school committed suicide because she got a B. Um, so yeah, I can totally see where the star child syndrome comes from, because a lot of these kids who, like you said, they're
too
the
much
stars.
pressure on them.
There's so much pressure that a child should not have to burden. Like people are not letting their children be children, and it's
Yeah.
kind of sad.
And they have
yeah.
not given them the ability to have that coping mechanism to develop
Yes,
it. So
yeah.
for every time everybody's expecting them, oh, you're gonna come first. Yes, you're gonna be first. Oh, you're gonna be first. And then when they find out that they can't be, or the pressure for them to be, because they're
Yeah.
constantly competing,
Mm.
even competing with themselves, trying to up
Yeah.
their game all the time, trying to raise the bar all the time, and they get under so much pressure. I actually have a good friend whose son committed suicide. He was 18.
My God.
His name is Toby. He was, so he got, I mean, I remember when he was graduating from secondary school, they would call him. And at the point, his mom was getting embarrassed that, oh my God, is he the only one in this school? Getting called for this president, this, winning all the things, this one. He got positive. And he was just like a perfect boy, you know. His mom had all his passwords. Him and his mom used to the same ATM. Everything, all the things that they did, even when he died, they had access to his laptop, they had access to his phone. There was nothing in there because his mom knows all his passwords. They share the same passport. It was just, he has a sister, but she's, older, and she's in America. And so we up till now, the only thing that is a bother to us is that we can't, he didn't write any suicidal note. He just came in, we just got in, his mom just went to work, left him at home, and she came back, saw that, the breakfast table was still the same, everything was still the same. And then she just calling him, Toby, where are you? Went upstairs, and he had hung himself in his mom's bathroom.
My son's name is Toby.
And it
Actually,
and it
I
was
have a
his
question
mom
for
that
you.
saw him. So you can imagine the trauma. You can imagine, and so there's no closure for her because she doesn't know why he did it.
I
They're
have a
comfortable,
question.
mm, they're
I feel
comfortable and all of that. So what I told when we started analyzing it, I said to the mom, who's my friend, I said, I think what has happened is that Toby, he wanted to go to a university and he couldn't get into that university, not because he didn't pass, but because it was a bit too expensive for the parents. And he got a scholarship to go to another university where they're not going to pay, or at least the money was going to be very minimal. Um, and he said, okay, it was fine and all of that. But I have a feeling that it wasn't fine. That was my, rationale and analyzing all of the things. I have a feeling that it wasn't really fine, but because he was keeping up that I'm a good child. He didn't want to hurt his parents by saying, oh, no, I don't like that. Normally that's what children say. No, I'm not going to go, this and that. He said it was fine. But really, deep down, I think it wasn't fine. And before he would get into that university, he decided to leave. That was his escape route. So there was no coping mechanism. He was just looking for a way of escape. I'm not going to face this world going into a university I don't want to go to, and then all my friends are going to be laughing at me, and then they're going to be saying, after all of that, you're supposed to go to one of the Ivy League universities, and you couldn't go there, and they wouldn't understand that my parents didn't have money to pay for the fees. They would think that I didn't do well to get in there. I'm sure that he would have sort of been thinking about all of these things in his head. Only God knows why it happened, but I think that's where I'm finding my own closure for it, to say perhaps that's what happened, and and so
There
one
was
of the things that we need to do is to stop putting pressure on the
On
children.
kids, you know.
If they say that, if they come and they don't get good results, what do you say to them? You ask them, did you put in your best? And the child says, yes. Did you read enough? Did you do that? And he says, yes. Then that's fair. That's good. Just go and see why you didn't make it and then put in more effort next time, so that you know exactly why you didn't do well, so that you can then, put in more effort. Or are you comfortable with that course? Do you want to change it? Do you think you understand? Rather than, they already feel bad that they didn't do well, crying out
And
loud.
then parents
And
pile
then the
on.
parents come
Yeah.
and then they start comparing them.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
look at your
Ah.
friend there. Oh, look at that one. Has they got two heads? They've got better. They don't even go to a good school like you are. They don't even, and all of these things. Our children of nowadays cannot cope.
They can't
When we
cope.
were
We had
growing up,
all of that when we were
we
growing
had
up.
all
But
of
these
that,
kids
but we could
can.
cope. For some reason, we could cope because our parents taught us how to cope. Because on the one hand, they would have abused you, and on the other hand, they'll say to you, is it because of what I said to you? You better get yourself and go. My mother never did it. And somehow in abusing you, they also ginger you in
Mm.
some ways to say, so because of that, come on, my friend, get up. And and somehow you kind of get over that and you get to the next, and you move yourself to the next so that you can then carry on. And somehow that sort of helped us to develop some kind of coping mechanism that keeps you going. And then the abusive, because they are not giving them next time. If you like, don't do well, you hear next time. So you are looking forward to that next time when you will try and do better, and all of those things. Which this is what our children don't have nowadays, because some parents just don't give them that kind of succor.
Yeah,
It's all
that
about
back.
I'm sorry. I have to.
expectation. I'm not saying it's
Can
all
I just
parents.
also say before we continue, I want to welcome Kayode, one of our panelists. A round of applause. Welcome, Kayode.
So,
He's the
I
one who
mean,
was saying that Nigerian parents are always angry. So,
so
Candy, can you just hold on because Bumi had a question.
Oh
I have
yes.
que-
Um,
I have question too.
yeah.
Is why I logged on
You
actually.
made
I'm
it.
like,
okay, yes, okay. Bumi, then Candy, then Kayode.
I was hoping that you guys can make a distinction with something for me. Like the thing that you're describing, especially the South Korean one, Candy, that's a tiger mom syndrome, right? Asians are very bad at this. They're notoriously bad at this. The Chinese, Indians, and Nigerians. There was actually a
Yes.
book written, and they wrote, Amy Chow, she actually
Yeah.
listed
Tiger Mom.
Nigerians
Yeah.
as one of the very extraordinarily demanding
Yeah.
kind of societies that you can come from. But recently, there was a story out of England that really floored me. This beautiful blonde girl in Coventry University, she got a result, and the result, they made a mistake. They said she'd failed when she passed, and she committed suicide. I was completely floored by this thing. This was not a pressure coming from her parents. This is obviously a pressure she put on herself. And I just wanted you guys to address something for me, because there's always this idea that smart people are a little bit crazy, and I've noticed that, and I don't know why, but I think that's completely different from this star child thing that we're describing, because I think that it can come from the parent or the society, but it can also come from the child, and it's easy for us to tell the parents, okay, you need to chill, right, before you kill your own child. But when it's coming from the actual child himself, what do you do?
Now, does anybody else want to stop, because I've been talking, so I don't hog the floor.
No, we were thinking Greatness was going to take this, but unfortunately she's dropped off again. So, Princess, we are looking to you as backup, please.
Right. If for me, what I do, because I also mentor teenagers, young adults and all of that. I counsel. I'm a counselor. I'm a mentor. I'm also a coach. Certified in all. So if we have a child, you see, one of the things, those things don't happen when they become the teenagers or young adults. It starts from when they're young.
Mm.
If you see a child, some of them are very competitive in nature. They like the competition. You know, they thrive on competition, or everything is about competition to them. You know, they always want to win. They always want to win. That's when you start detecting that child, that they have some kind of trait or attribute that of a competitive nature. Those type of children will never want to lose in anything, in anything. And so
Actually,
it's
I just
our
remembered
telling them,
something.
and it's about the parents telling them from that time, it's always not about winning. It's sometimes just about participating. You don't have to
Yes,
win,
and also,
you know.
I actually just remembered, it's a personality type. You're right, sis. The competitive people is a personality type, but it often comes from feeling like they will never be loved unconditionally. That they can only be loved
They
if
have to
they
be proving
achieve.
themselves
Yes.
when they
So
achieve,
even if
you
you're
know.
not verbally telling your child you must get an A, you must get an A, if the child already feels like you're the kind of parent that if I don't do well, you won't love me, they will still act that way.
Yeah.
So I always tell,
Candy.
you know,
Okay.
particularly young parents, I always say you must identify your child's emotional attributes. Some are reward children. They want you to reward them every time. Some just want their what I call touchy children. They want you to hug them. They like hugging. They like, you know, oh, you know, okay, give mommy a hug, give me a kiss, you know. Some are
Helpful.
command. Some are command children. You understand? Go and do that. If you don't say it, then you know they feel that
They
there's
will
something wrong. You're not telling me. You know, so they want you to tell them. Some are, you know, so different. So you must recognize. You know, they
your
might
own
have that
child.
trait all round, but one will be dominant, that you will know that that's one thing that gets your child. Oh, you know that, oh,
Yeah.
it's a hug that gets my child. Like, oh, okay, come get a hug. And everything just fades away for them. Just because you've given them that hug. You know, irrespective of what you've done. They just get a hug and everything is okay. And you know, some are
Fine.
they just want you to praise them. Oh, did you do that? Oh, let me put a star on your chart, you know? And they're just very happy and you can't go wrong anymore, you know. I got a star, and that's it. So if from when they're very young, you can start identifying, you know, the type of emotional traits or attributes that they have, then you can start balancing it out for them. So if it's a child that's competitive, you know, that like competition and wants to win all the time, you start trying to balance it for them that it's not always about winning, you know. Do things that will let them know that it's okay not to win. It doesn't mean you're not good. It doesn't mean you're not okay. It doesn't mean things are not fine. You understand? So those
Yeah.
are the kind of things. But when they're fully become like young adults or teenagers, and that has not been addressed when they're younger. Now, what I always say when I'm counseling them, we go back into a bit of coaching, a bit of counseling. And the child is all, you know, oh, I come back with a result and says, I passed, I did well, and all of that. I try to tone it down without losing their ego. So you've done very well. Well done. Well done. Then we start talking about different things. How did you do it? Was it because you studied? So I remove the attention from the fact that you've done well. I put the attention back into you did well because you put in a lot of work. Do you get it?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't come easy. It was because you took time. When your friends were playing, you were studying. When this was happening, you took time to do this. So you appreciate them more for the effort than the end result. So so that focus on I came first is not
It's
so
not the
high on
focus. Yeah.
their yeah. It's more on, oh, I came first. Well, it's because I put in a lot of work. It was because I studied a lot. It was because, do you understand? And that's how you can
Yes.
start shaving off that little thing that I have to come first.
Yeah.
Oh, it
That who
must
I
be, you
am
know, and
tied into how I do.
Candy,
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
do you want to ask a question?
I was going to say something, but I've totally forgotten what I was going to say now.
Maybe let's
Okay,
get to
why
write it
you
down
try and
sometime.
remember? Sorry, why
It's all right.
why you try and remember? Can you remember it now?
No, I can't. But I'm sure
Okay,
I'll.
try and remember.
We'll come back to it.
I can add
I think Mr.
something.
Coyote wants.
Wait, yeah,
Oh,
Kayode,
go
can
ahead.
you ask your question?
Yes. So the photo I was showing you, actually, I wanted to see what I looked like when I was 11.
Right.
So when that was handed to me, this was this year by another classmate who in Nigeria, he said he's my classmate. We grew up in the same school. He said it doesn't look like me. So I said, why? He said, because I'm always smiling. So then I reminded you of something that he forgot, that were we not all depressed in our first year when we took that? This is the first
Because
semester.
he left home.
Yes, we left home first semester of the first year in a military school, right? So I said, I reminded him, were we not all depressed? That nobody was smiling at the time we took that photo, right? I think you were spot on, right? The kids, this
Before you go
generation.
on, Kayode, I just want to say something. Kayode is the Baba Kwata Kwata who started the school that Ron, I, and Joan went to. So he's the grandfather of all of us. The very, very first set.
No, I'm the third
So
set,
you were
but she's
on,
very.
you were the guinea,
Oh,
you were
third
the guinea
set.
pig.
Where is the Oga Kwata Kwata that we know?
I'm the third set, but all old people look the same. Both grandparents look like they're the same age of great grandparents, and then all of them are the same. They're all old. So I was trying to show you basically what I looked like when I was 11, how I was feeling. The state of my mind is probably captured in that photo. But then one of the things that now happened later on, when I took my own son to school in Nigeria, and I got to the class and he had weed on himself, and he wasn't doing that at home. I told the teacher, why did he wee on himself? I still remember this, and if he was here, he will actually start laughing. He's 24 now. He's 25 in 3 months. He started laughing because this triggers me all the time. I kind of relieve the emotions. The lady teacher basically said, oh, he's not, how did he do that? Come. That I came to pick up my son. Come forward. She opened her drawer, brought out a ruler, and spanked my son.
Right in front
presence.
of you.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let me calm down. It's a long time ago. Because in my mind, I'm always like wondering how I did not lose it completely. I was quiet. I took him out there, and I basically, after that semester, he didn't go back to that school. They sent people, but here's the thing, though. When I was growing up, that would be acceptable. So now that I've prevented my kids, and that's what most of my generation did with the kids, right? They prevented them from going through that, which we interpreted to be abuse. We interpreted it to be abuse. We interpreted it to be trauma. But you see, if you prevent a child from experiencing the trauma early on, you can't now put the same kind of pressure that you had on him. He's not been built for that.
Yeah.
So part of the problem that we created is that we made them skip the initial formation of being able to absorb trauma.
That coping mechanism.
Yes, yeah. Of being able to, because I got this before I went to this school. My own case is a little okay. My case is funny because I came to the US as a 3-month-old baby. Went back to Nigeria at 4.5. So I was speaking Fune. Then suddenly my life turned around. I was getting the slippers every day. Every day I did something wrong, and my mother was very impatient. Right? So I got the slippers every day till I went to military school. Well, in hindsight, that actually is what prepared me, that allowed me to go in there and, because I'm not, at least at the end of the day, I came out of that and I can interpret my experiences differently. There are some other people who went to the same school who are still not normal, right? That's just who they are.
Are we still on
I have a question, though.
me, but it helped me.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Are you saying your kids
I know.
should experience trauma?
Wait. Let Candy ask. Wait, hold on. Let Candy ask.
What I'm saying, let me just clarify that. I'm saying that the trauma that I started to experience early on, allowed me develop, in quotes, the coping mechanism. I'm not trying to say, and I'm also telling you, I also started by telling you that I didn't allow my son to go through it because as an adult, as a parent, I interpret it now to be, it's traumatic for me. And that's why I was saying, even my son will laugh at me because I kind of relieve the emotions of it. So I'm not trying to say that I support it in any way. I'm just telling you that my own experiences and how it basically allowed me form some coping mechanism. I believe I have come to realize that there are better ways to basically raise a kid over time. In fact, even my younger son came recently and so said that he said something like, basically, they are lucky that I and his mom are quoting the exact words, but basically he feels that we're ahead of the curve because I guess when they compare stories, I don't sound, or he realizes I'm not the type that puts pressure on a kid to do things. But then the thing they forget is that I still have a military background. Somewhere along the line, basically, I kind of adapted. So I'm not trying to basically excuse that. I'm trying to connect the dots because it's tough for me to hearing the stuff I've been hearing. But one other thing I noticed, right? This is just me noticing as a layman. A lot of the kids who are exceptionally brilliant when I was young seem to have an overactive mind as an adult where they needed a little bit of help later on. It's never all right? So it's never all. But I noticed that a lot of those, there's some people that got double promotion. They were just too smart. Elementary school, right? Now these people graduated top of the class, after the double promotion. But now that we're much older and then we can talk, and mental health is no longer a thing that everybody is hiding. You now realize that they need a little bit of help in terms of therapy, in terms of, So in my mind, I'm wondering, again, this is just, I'm wondering, I'm not a medical person. I'm wondering if that initial extreme ability to very quickly grasp things ahead of the rest of your peers, if and this is where Isaiah described it, if the blessing also has a curse. Because what I realized for most people,
they just don't have, what we say when we say that some people are not streetwise, they don't have social intelligence.
So what I've realized over time is that everything
that they do is about their education, academia, and all of that.
Yes.
And they close their mind to the social things. It's the social things that help you to balance.
But my conclusion in it all is that the blessing also has a curse. And what I mean by that is that I have interacted with people who basically came out with the first class. And there was one person who told me that when she's at home preparing to go to university, when other parents are telling their kids to study, her mother would tell her, do not study to the point where you become sick. Because she is the exact opposite. I experienced her decide that she will come out with the first class no matter what it will cost. She made the first class, right? But I saw her go to the extreme in terms of I have to make the right grades. So I totally...
Sorry, there's a question for you. No, there's a question.
I see there. I'll answer it. He said, somebody said that am I saying that discipline given by my parents was traumatic? That's a very good question. Okay, let me put it this way. At the time when I received it, it was traumatic. At the time when I received it, it was traumatic. Now that I'm also a parent, I realized that they were acting based on the best information they had at that point in time. So my interpretation of it, for the person who asked the question, my interpretation of it is actually what really matters. Because some people who are still classifying it as traumatic have problems dealing with that.
Yeah.
If I can give you a very quick example just to buttress that. In the military school, we had a regimental sergeant major. I hope you look that up. It's the toughest soldier you find, the training guy. Very recently, 40 years after. Yes, the drill master. 40 years after, what happened is that the ex-students, is the best way so that you understand it, went to find him in retirement, brought him to the school, and actually everybody who had now risen to become generals and who had become very successful wanted to take photographs with the regimental sergeant major, who there is almost no way you can pass through that school without a period where you would have received his whip. He had a horse whip that he moved around with. And there is no way you can spend 5 years without actually getting it. Yet.
It sounds like all of you have Stockholm syndrome.
Exactly.
I'm telling you.
Exactly. So, and the syndrome, see, if you describe it as a syndrome, the syndrome actually is so huge, right, that everybody now loves this guy, and we're actually, basically in retirement, we're buying him a car. Yes. Now, hold on. Let me flip that. There are certain names that you will mention that I will log off because I received their whip, but they were wicked. There is a difference. I can tell the difference between the person who
a whip in love and a whip out of wickedness.
Yes. Yeah. So for the person who asked me if it was traumatic, that's what I'm talking about. I know the state of your mind when that whip touches me. That's how I describe what is traumatic as opposed to what is discipline.
Correctional.
Yeah, correctional. So for the person who asked that question, I hope that takes care of that question. Then the last question, the question I actually had was when we talk of depression, right? So earlier on, Bumi, I was feeling when Ron said I should log in, I was like, this is heavy for me. I don't know if I can come on board. But I was listening to everything. But then I have one question. When they put people on serotonin, which is to help, because what I've learned about is that people don't produce enough, right? Yeah. Some do not produce enough, so they can't basically become happy again when they become sad. It's not, it's automatic for some, it's not automatic for some. In my own, when I explain this to people, I say people wear glasses. Some people need glasses to see clearly. Does not mean they're not seeing, but they need glasses. So every organ in the body, everybody needs some form of augmentation, right? Doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that's broken down completely, but you need some augmentation so that it becomes normal like every other person. So in my mind, I'm wondering, right, that the organ that produces the serotonin, it's not going to produce the same for everybody, which means that there are some people who will always need the augmentation for them to produce enough.
I don't think, and we can ask the experts, the medical people, but I don't think that's how it works. And it's not just serotonin, it's dopamine, but it's naturally produced by things like accomplishing your goals, being around people you love, being hugged. It's naturally produced. And when
there's a physical organ that produces it.
Thing, like if you eat well and you exercise, you'll be fine. No, there's certain times in your life where you may not be able to do anything about your environment.
So what I learned,
you naturally get the good feeling hormones. But I don't know.
What I learned, Bumi,
maybe can speak to that.
What I learned and I read about, because see, mental health is like a passion of mine. Every extra book I read is about psychology, mental health. What I've seen some books again. I've seen some books where exercise, even actually not just that. We're talking of even people. Those
are endorphins. They're like 4 different types of chemicals that.
Yes.
And they're produced but from different things.
Yes, but exercise actually increases the production for some people.
Endorphins.
Yes, which is part of the happy chemicals.
Yeah.
Actually.
Okay, can we ask Greatness? Greatness, can you please maybe expand on this so that these are people who have the better Greatness. Let's let that talk.
Yes, please. My theory is this, right? That if there is an organ responsible for producing when it has been stimulated, just like your eyes, you want to see. You're stimulating the eyes to look far or to look near. For some people, it will not see the near or it will not see the far, right? I'm eating normally like every other person, they're telling me that I have high blood pressure. Meanwhile, I didn't eat more salt than some other people ate. But me, I cannot eat, I'm not allowed to eat as much salt, right? I'm eating normally like every other person. They're telling me I have high cholesterol. I'm saying I'm exercising.
Or
But the doctor,
diabetes.
yeah, the doctor says I still need to basically take the meds. Why is my own organ not responding like every other person's own? I've come to accept
Okay.
that
I think I know what
everybody's
you mean, but that's
yes,
clinical depression when it is an actual chemical imbalance. When
so yeah, so exactly. So I can't describe all. I'm just asking that is it possible that some people just do not produce enough and need the augmentation?
That's clinical depression.
Absolutely, yeah.
They will always be predisposed to be depressed.
Yeah.
Because they're not generating. No, you're absolutely spot on about that.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to bring up. But
May
anyway,
I come in as somebody who has been diagnosed with clinical depression and bipolar? Now, when people generally meet me, they say,
what's his name to talk. Ron, he's been wanting to talk.
"Oh, Ron, oh yeah, Ron, come on. Sorry, I didn't see his
This
hand.
is the
Thank you,
kind of
Princess."
bullying. This is the kind of bullying I've been talking about. Abby bullies me all the time on the show. This is exactly
No,
what
how did I bully you?
pressed my hand like 7 times, and each time she keeps
I did
passing me.
not see you now. Hey, Mama.
She's a work
Beautiful
in
intentional bullying. Huh?
I came to your rescue, didn't I?
I am sorry. I
Thank you very much.
apologize. I did not see you.
I
Don't
won't
worry.
apology.
When I see Shebi's me and you in camera, I will show you shaking.
Uh,
You're already bullying him again.
so, it's trying to be now.
Okay, Ron, please share your thoughts.
Okay, I was listening to everybody's experience, especially yeah. This is the thing. I will tell my story briefly, and I'll tell you what I think about modern day parenting and how we build up children for today. In my own case, I was deceived into military school. Like I didn't know what the full package was. I was in primary school. Like I was a bully to fix fights, organize fights for primary school. This school thing came up and I had to go. My dad was like, he didn't tell me that they were saying for discipline. No, just you passed. Oh, I'm really proud of you. And he kept using that proud of you, proud of you. So the thing was getting to my head. And he kept telling everybody. So all the information I had was that once I go to military school, I wear uniform. And that was enough to motivate me, right? Well, I don't want Oprah Winfrey to come online too, but let's just say let me save unprintable things. Military school was horrible, but it was at the same time correctional. I was part of the privileged people to have been molded by the system, but some people were not that lucky because now I sit down with old classmates, old schoolmates, and they tell me how they felt while they were in school and they didn't like it. I'm friends with every single senior I met, even the malicious ones, that's the benign ones, and the benevolent ones. I'm friends with all of them. All the airmen and officers, I'm friends with all of them. Why? As I left the school and I started becoming a younger man, I started seeing that real life wasn't that simple. That's real life out of school. And to some extent, the school still protected us from real life. There are things I started experiencing as a young man. And I'm always usually one of the few people who survives these issues. Like, it doesn't bother me. And people are like, what's wrong with you? I've been so toughened up to the point whereby I just know, how to adjust and cope immediately. Now, why am I telling this short story? I'm not saying everything, but why am I saying this? I think over time, parenting, especially in Africa, has gone south. Gone south. I'll tell you. While we were growing up, a child misbehaves, the parent is not there. Before the parents come, the nearest adults there would check that child immediately. And that child is not going to even tell the parent because the parent will still, for
Get up
disgracing the
quickly.
household. Yeah, just for disgracing that household, they will still beat you up when the information gets to the parent. So you already know that once you step out of your father's house, you are the ambassador of that family. You behave yourself, or a lot of things will befall you. Now we have parents whereby every little thing they want to come out as defend. I'm not saying parents should not defend kids, so that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there are some things that you should just overlook. You cannot micromanage or supervise every aspect of your child's life. You are breeding weaklings. The world out there is rough. Why you are training your child to be a softy and cuddly child, a nice child, don't do this, don't touch, don't hit, don't. Somebody outside does not have a father or mother to tell him that one. And those are usually the bully they meet outside. How do they cope when you bring somebody from a soft buttered home to go and meet a rock criminal minded child? How do they cope? It's an automatic human phenomenon. The guy will always dominate that child. It doesn't matter how strong. I remember, thing about bullying is psychology. There's a way I'll look at you, I'll assess you. Can I bully you? Is this soft? Can you withstand me? Well, the moment I know you can't withstand me, I just go for it, and I just become a bully and I keep. Then the issue of schooling. uh, Hope you know that while I was schooling, most of the people who repeated classes were kids that had double promotion, were forced to schools at very tender age. For instance, why are you sending an 8-year-old child to a secondary school boarding house, a military school for that matter, 8 years old? Who are you trying to impress? Then on top of that, and he became 8 year old in secondary school because they were busy double promoting him, and the parents were hailing their children. See my child's report card. My child is more brilliant than your own. Okay, the child manages to screech to school and pass out at the age of 16, 15. And is this same person you are sending to university to go and meet grown adults? And you wonder why the population of all these secret societies or fraternities have more children in their ranks than sensible adults. Children are impressionable. It doesn't matter how brilliant you are. Academic brilliance is totally different from street wisdom.
So, yeah.
Totally. I have friends till today. They are like Sheldon Cooper of, I don't know if you've seen The Big Bang Theory. Sheldon Cooper. They think one way, and that way is academic. They don't have any form of street smartness.
There's no
Nothing.
Oh
social,
my God. I
To
have to
women,
respond to Ron because this thing
I'm
he's
coming.
saying is
there's no
very
social
common
leg.
thinking.
Yeah.
And it's so wrong.
They
It's
don't.
dangerous, but let
They
me
can't. Okay. They can't relate to women. They can't even. They can't even challenge their friends who outsmart them in business or any other activity they are going through. Now, am I saying that we should raise thugs in our home? No. I believe life should be a balance. While you are still trying to protect, also find a way to toughen up that child, because I tell you, real life is not easy. There's pressure at work, there's pressure in marriage, there's pressure in general friendship, there's pressure. The social life of a grown adult in modern time is pressure. And when you investigate to say, why are you being so soft? It's usually parents that just went on holiday to America. Then they'll just scope, then they'll just pick one thing and say, ah, Igbo people, they don't touch their children. Igbo people, they don't shout at their children. Then they'll come home and transfer it to their kids. I say, you know what? Why did you do that? Go and stay in the naughty corner. You've been very naughty. I'm like, these kids, you treat kids as if they're another creature, as if they're, I don't know, as if they're stupid eggs, like they don't have sense.
No.
Kids are smart.
Okay, Ron. Let's stop you.
Yeah.
there.
I need to
Because you're
respond to
going
that
off.
because
And the thing that sorry, Candy, I want you to talk on this as well. Because the thing that Ron said is a lot of Nigerians believe this.
yes.
And it's the idea that the world is a horrible place and you have to be horrible to your child, prepare them to cope with this horrible place.
That's
And
not what I
don't
said.
agree.
That's not what I said.
Let me respond to something
That's
you
not what I
said.
said.
Let me let Candy
That's not
talk
what I
because
said.
I'm
Let me
talking a lot
respond to
today
something you
about
said. I'm one of those people. I do not hit my children. I saw my twin brother being my twin brother, he got the shit beat out of him as a child, because every Friday, I used to dread going home every Friday, because I knew my twin brother, obviously after years, we got to find out it was a learning disorder he had. But he came home every day I remember from second grade. He would come home, we'll bring all our stuff home, and my dad would beat the shit out of him because he never got anything right. Like, but, he was dyslexic. He didn't, but nobody knew. So
his fault, yeah,
it wasn't his fault. But like,
but when it's okay to be
and
to solve these kind of problems,
that was traumatic for me.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Wait, listen, let me speak. That was traumatic for me. I made that decision that I would never hit my kids. I do not hit my kids. There are so many other ways to discipline children without laying a hand on them. So for you to say that, oh, you're training soft children, my daughter knows. My daughter does not fuck with me because she knows she cannot fuck with me, and I've never hit her. You can train children without laying a hand on them.
Shit out of them.
You can't say because. No, I'm sorry. This just like
I know. Hold on. I've even told you the thing I need to tell you. I grew up in Nigeria. They beat the shit out of me in Nigeria. They beat me in school. They beat me in lessons. They beat me at home. Not my parents, but the community.
Listen.
And you know what that does to you, Ron? All it does is it makes you a better liar. It makes you learn how to cheat and lie and deceive. That's not how you get the best behavior from your child. A lot of times parents are just too lazy to actually take the time to explain why this behavior is a better idea than that behavior. We'd rather just beat you and let fear make you not do it. But all that is I won't do it when you are around. And it's wrong. Kennedy!
I'm sorry, I had to go. The pain got too much, so I had to go take medication. So I apologize. The pain was too much. So I missed out on what Ron said because I had to go. I was in so much pain. I had to go.
Don't worry, I'll repeat it now. Don't worry, I'll repeat it. So that's not what I mean. No, that's not what I mean.
I'm just going to be quiet after this one last thing. I can tell that you people are not going to let me say what I want to say. This idea that they can't get women. Look at Sinisha, what's his character called in Big Bang Theory? Why would you not want a child like that? That's
exactly
brilliant. The people that you beat, you know how they end up in jail. They're the ones that they go to.
What happened to Big Bang?
What character are you talking about?
In jail. This idea that
what character are you talking about?
Child because the world is difficult. Which world? It depends on the world that you're preparing him for. There are powerful men on earth right now who cannot throw a punch, who have probably never been in a fight in their life.
Exactly.
You think Mark Zuckerberg has ever been in a fight? You think Bill Gates has ever been in a fight?
That's not what I'm talking.
This is a very backward way of thinking that we have to treat our children like animals. Tough enough to be able to deal with the world. No.
I don't think that's what you meant to me. I think you're
you guys just got triggered over something else I said. That's not
out of context. I don't think that's
no, that's
you guys taking it to the extreme.
Did you not
okay, let me speak slowly.
It was just a leverage for comparison, not that it was
don't say slowly.
Now this is the thing. The thing is this: if a child is dyslexic, flogging a child or hitting a child does not solve.
No, but you're missing the point.
That's not the point of the story. Exactly. That's not the point.
I'm coming.
What did you say to these two ladies?
I'm trying to address the issue.
And then he won't let us tell you.
Hey, let me talk now. Whether you like it or not, kids are different. You cannot assume because you have a quiet kid who responds to your speech that all kids are like that. That is not true. I've seen this a lot of time. I had friends while growing up that their parents never hit them one day. Those guys, even in military school, those were even the bullies at school. Am I lying, Oga Kayode? Those were even the bullies.
Don't drag me inside. You don't trigger them.
No, I'm just trying to even expose them to information. Those kids let me even make it simple for you.
Where are you going with this? So now you're going to start coming. Wait. You're going off topic.
Wait.
You said that.
You just opened the topic to the address.
Go back
Hold on.
to the thing you said and defend that.
I'm not changing anything. I'm just trying to let you know that all kids are not the same. If you have a kid that you can use your eye to communicate with, you need to thank your God. You need to thank your God. Kids are not wired the same. There are kids that are just
yes, we know that kids are not wired the same. But I'm sorry, there's no way you can convince me that hitting a child is a way to discipline was a way to discipline a child. Yes, there are kids who've never been hit that are bullies. It's not nothing. There's no that has really nothing to do with anything.
Exactly.
There are kids that are hit that end up being really great people. My brother is a great person. There are kids who have been, but it's not the trauma, the mental trauma that hitting caused. That I'm sorry, you just can't. There are other ways.
It changes you. It changes who you are.
Okay. Let Princess address this because I don't even know what's going on. I was dealing with pain. I'm sorry.
Ron, we still love you though. I just don't want to see children.
No one size fits all. Everyone, it still comes to that stage where everyone must understand their child or their children. And you then train them according to how you feel best. Nobody can train your child for you. Nobody can tell you how to train your child because nobody can love them more than you do. There are times when I saw a video, it was around before and then it sort of resurfaced when this bullying thing started, going viral again. And it was this man driving behind his daughter. And he said the daughter was going to work 5 miles to school. That was her punishment for being a bully, because she was such a bully that twice she's been taken out of the school bus because she was bullying. So the second time it happened, the father said, it's not going to happen the third time. I'm going to teach you a lesson. And to some people, that was the extreme. But to the father, that's the best way for him to train that child not to be a bully. Does that mean that child is not going to be a bully? Maybe not. Do you understand? But he made a decision because that was what he felt that needed to be done. So some parents, now we must always remember, there's a way you beat a child and there's a way you beat a child.
I was coming to that. Thank you very much.
You can beat a child. It's not about how hard. It's about the action. It's about the action. I have beaten my son when he was small with a finger, just a finger, one finger. And I just whacked him at the back of his palm, twice. So don't you ever do that, Bubble. Pam, pam. It wasn't the fact that I tapped him. It was that message that I sent to him that had never, I think it was probably about 1 or 2 or something, because he was writing with a crayon on the wall. And that was it. And he never did that again, because it was not so much for the beating, it was the expression on my face and the tone of my voice that he had never seen or heard me do. Now, to some people, they probably will give them a full whack on the face. That one I would not take.
That would have happened to me.
Look, I'm not here to judge parents. It's not like
what I'm saying
I've
is that
the shit out of my children, but
when people
it's not the right thing to do.
And so, as much as we're not promoting the fact that it's good to beat your child, but we cannot say to anybody how to treat their children.
We're discussing whether that is an effective way to discipline. And
we don't know. Even the time you beat your child, the shit out of child, you didn't even know if it was effective or not. But that was your impulsive way of dealing with that.
That doesn't make it right, though. If some people starve their children, and that's how they feel they want to.
That's what we're saying. That there's the extreme. That's when some people are just innately wicked. So it's not really concerned about what the child has done wrong. It's just that they're just wicked and they'll just whack a child. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But there are some people that it is all about correcting or nurturing or molding a child to right behavior.
Eating a child is not nurturing.
Ron, can I say
May
something
may
about
I may I say something here? Someone's phone is going off. May
Meaning
I
that
say something here?
to
May
do
I say
right.
something here, please? As a child
Sorry, I need to put
or
the phone.
as a child who grew up in deeper life background, same as Ron, you can imagine religion played a massive role in the way we were brought up. You know, this spare the rod and spoil the child, that kind of thing situation. Now the funny thing is, my dad, I can't recall my dad hitting me one time, and it was again like how Princess said, it was a finger. But I know I cried more at him doing that because number one, he had never touched me in his life, and he was like, "Hey, stop that!" And he used his finger, and I was like, "Ah, I'm going to die." Because again, my dad was the kind of person who believed in talking to you. He would express his disappointment. In fact, the way he would say his disappointment, you will cry more than my mother that will use the entire house to flog you. Like she's ready to lift a house and use it to on your head. You will cry more because of that. There was a kind of way he expressed his hurt and his disappointment. I don't subscribe to hitting kids. I don't. But I know I've also seen some kids that are like, just small koboko on your hand should have set you straight. You know, like I don't subscribe to it, but I know I have seen some kids that are like, you obviously did not hear no. You obviously did not have one small tap tap on your yash. You didn't obviously did not see, your mother just put koboko by the door and be like, your name is written on it. And they don't use it on you, but things like that. And you see that child just being a menace, not just to the parents, but to the rest of us who are in the environment. Like,
Well, you see,
so
but
again,
you get if
Abby,
you beat someone, they get desensitized. After a while, they're not
no,
scared.
that's why I said I don't subscribe to beating. I don't.
And you
but
and you don't change the actual behavior. Look at what you said about your dad. That happened to me too. Actually, my dad was very strict when I was a kid. He used to punish us. It wasn't
My dad
wasn't
wasn't strict.
that
I
physical, but he
rode
used to
circles
punish us.
around.
But when I turned 16, I did something really, really bad. And I thought, oh God, my dad is going to beat the shit out of me today. And honestly, if he did, I'd probably have left home because I was so hot and I thought I was all that. That man was smart. He calmed the fuck down. He talked to me and he said, what is going on with you? Are you upset? And had he not done that, had he turned around and become heavy-handed, me, my 16-year-old naivety and stupidity, I'd probably have left that house.
Me, I left home many times. Anytime my mother beats me like this, PM, I'm off to my uncle's house. So I will go and wait for my dad at the junction. I
agree with Ron about something he said. Sorry, Abby, to be pushy and fussy. The trend of Nigerian parents showing up at school, beating the shit out of the teachers. I agree with Ron on that.
Yeah.
No, that's wrong. That's totally wrong.
Indulgent BS.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying my mom. When my mom would beat me as a teenager,
no, not
right?
you, not you, love, not you. This
No,
is I'm
saying when my beats me, I am leaving home. And my dad will never say, oh yeah, let's go back. He'll be like, okay, so where are you going to now? And I'm going to Brad Benji's house. Okay, greet him for me. Tell him I said hi. And he will actually give me money and I'll go. After I've come down like 4 days, and as soon as Brad Ben just opens the door and he sees me, he'll be like, yeah, your mother fought again, Abby. Yeah, just come inside. And in a way, it worked out for everyone because I knew I had a place of respite to go and hide my head for a couple of days. My dad would then sort of handle things at home. So when I came back, my dad would have told my mom, don't say anything to her again. Shebi, you've beat her. She has run away, Abby. Leave her alone. You know, that kind of thing. So it wasn't the best.
How is that good? Now you don't know where you're.
It's not good. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't the best. I'm telling you, it wasn't the best form of parenting. In fact, my brother and I, when my brother was around, we held my dad responsible for a lot of things. A lot of things that we felt he should have put his foot down, be like, okay. And he did. When I turned 16, going to 17, he actually called me and said, in this house, you are no longer going to be beaten. what you're going to be getting is consequences and repercussions. You're not going to be beaten anymore. So that stopped, you know.
So
but
Abby,
I still,
can I respond to something you had said about you felt like although there are some kids that you see that maybe, you know, maybe if they were hit, they'll behave better or whatever.
like it's just that kind of not that's
I understand what you're saying, but like I just want to respond to that. And I feel like because you were saying something like, oh, your mom just hangs this or whatever. For one thing with kids also, you need to follow through. You have to follow through on whatever it is. Because for example, I've talked to Bumi about Kennedy so many times. I know as a teenager, me and that girl are going to, she's gonna have gray hairs. Oh my God, that child, she's a stubborn, she's a stubborn little monster. But you know, it's I think people always say, oh, this child is very difficult, but it's all, I think you have to really follow through. The first time that Kennedy realized, like, okay, don't fuck with this woman, she was probably maybe about 2 years old. And she will take a bath and she'll put all her toys in the bathtub and she wouldn't clean it out. And I kept telling her, Kennedy, you got to put your toys away after your bath. One night, I told her she was going straight to bed after the bath. No TV, no playing, nothing. She thought it was a joke. I said, no, you're going straight to bed. After that day, she never left her toys in the bath anymore, ever. She never, and that's the thing. There's so many different ways that you can discipline a child without laying a hand on them, and you're not turning them into soft children. I mean, Kennedy knows now. You know what? You do something wrong, you don't have your iPad for a week. That alone will scare her from not doing whatever she's not supposed to do. There's so many ways.
Abby, why are you jumping comments? Sorry, I'm talking to Abby. Why are you jumping comments?
I didn't jump comments.
You did. You jumped comments.
Somebody just gave an excellent comment. I didn't care. And
no, she went to the one that she likes. That's what
exactly.
She skipped and jumped to the one she liked.
How did I?
You didn't say this one. Don't mind that.
Wow.
She saw this one.
I'm not wearing my glasses. I'm just. Can you see who is bullying who here now? Who is bullying who? Can you see?
You know,
I think Princess has. I don't know what happens. I hope she comes back. I don't know what happened with Greatness. I think the panel took over the. They took over the job from the experts that we invited. Experts said fire. Said now wow. But honestly, I want to say a massive thank you to Greatness and also to Princess, because Princess really brought a lot of insight in. I want to say thank you to you guys. Honestly, I really appreciate you. We have been particularly flogging this horse. I'm going to give us another 8 minutes so that we can wrap up things, and then we'll have to say goodbye. Because we've already spent 2 hours, over 2 hours here. No, we definitely can't finish it. But I wanted to say something about mental health because because I was, as I've said many times, I'm diagnosed clinical depression, bipolar, and other PTSD and blah blah blah, other stuff, other good stuff. And I'm generally known as a funny person. And in fact, I was reading about Vivaldi. He's one of the biggest comedians on earth, whoever was a comedian. And you know, he wrote in his autobiography, no one is sadder than a clown. A clown goes around making other people happy, but inside they're miserable. And when you look at someone like Robbie Williams, again, another great comedian of our generation, who went and committed suicide. He made so many people happy, made so many people laugh. And that's exactly what it was. What in fact, because what a lot of people don't know is I struggle with suicidal thoughts every single day because of my bipolar. I'm on top of it now, but there was a time when it was really, really bad, really, really bad. And yet, if I saw someone or I went online, I'll plaster that smile immediately. I'll start cracking jokes. Everything is good. Everything is dandy. But as soon as everything is switched off, the world is on my shoulders.
The same way. I understand.
You know, and it was just awful and it was hard to cope with life, and it was only people who really knew me inside, like people like Coyote that I've cried to run, things like that, knew that I was breaking inside, that all that happy joie de vivre that was out there was nothing inside. It was emptiness, it was darkness. And unfortunately, because of the kind of illness I've got and the kind of medication I'm on, I'm not allowed to even go on, antidepressants, because again, I react badly. I think I've mentioned it here. I have attempted suicide 5 times, but they were under the influence of medication. They gave me antidepressants that actually made me suicidal. And we didn't know for a long time, and I
Yeah.
was just every
Many of
time.
them actually have that side effect that you can.
Yeah, and I didn't know. We didn't know, until the 5th time. By this time, okay, let's look at your medication. Why are you
Yeah.
going through this? And then it was like, oh, it's the medication.
Yeah.
I just knew that I just had this overwhelming need to end things. And yet, when you ask the average person who meets me on this, Abby, she's a comedian. She's funny. She's this, she's that. And meanwhile, I was dying inside. I was miserable inside, just like empty. I would sit down and cry for hours. And you know how sometimes you will cry, you feel okay? I didn't feel okay. I felt just as bad as I started when I was crying. And the thought of waking up the next morning, there was a period in my time when I would wake up and go, oh God, I have woken up. Why?
Wow.
You can't, I mean, I know now, thank God I'm in a better place, but when I think back to those dark times, it's scary stuff for me. But for the grace of God, if I had pushed through, taking one more pill, someone had not shown up at my house, maybe 5 minutes, later, or, that kind of thing, who knows where we would be now. So these are very, very serious, deep things that we really need. And that's why it's important to reach out. And that's why this whole thing of people shouting, senior so bullied me. Your colleague that you are running campaign against because you want her job, or she did not greet you, or you think she's disrespectful, or one thing, you're not bullying that person. It's easy to, and that's why I said, while we are looking for the splinters, let us not be so unaware of the logs that could be residing in our own eyes. Because most of the juniors I know, I was kind to, but who says there isn't a junior that I was mean to? Who says? Until that junior comes on and said, this senior, that is car. And I will not be like, I know, because I don't know. Again, sometimes when you're doing things, you've done it, as Yoruba people say, the person who squats and defecates on the ground forgets where he did it. But the person who packs it will never forget where he picked it from. So again, you do something and you just forget and it's gone. But another person who's having to deal with what you've done, they are never going to forget. The same way that there's some seniors that I'm not going to be like, no, I don't want to talk to the person, but I will cool my jets first and wait and watch you and see how you're presenting yourself. And there's certain groups that I've just excluded myself because it was easier. Because again, when we are dealing with people and everything, sometimes we have to put our mental state and really watch and go, okay, what are these people doing for my mental state? Are these people that I can ignore? I can be in their midst and ignore their shenanigans. Let them do whatever they want to do. Or does their behavior really trigger some things in me and I need to exclude myself? So I'm part of a group. Plenty shenanigans they there. Plenty. Now so I sit down. She now from here to Gandhi. I'm not going anywhere. I will sit down here with you. We will be watching ourselves. Say whatever you want to say. And yet there's another group that maybe because of, again, my ties with this group is not deep, but my ties with this other group is deep. So I'm like, I can't deal with anything. I have to protect my mental space and separate from there. So when we are thinking about all these things, because I've been listening and unfortunately I had to step away because I have to round off. When we're thinking about all these things that we're going through as kids and all of that, and things that we're doing as adults, Greatness said something very, very, very important that I want us to take with us: empathy, both for the bullied and even the bully. Because I'm sure we've read many cases where someone who was abused goes on to abuse others. And there's this statement: hurt people hurt people. When you're hurt, you start to look for other people to hurt. And once we can start to get to that place of self-awareness and be like, okay, maybe there's something not totally kosher about my behavior. Let me start. Let's start making it normal to seek for help. People like Omoba and Greatness, I will take their details. I'll put it up for anyone who wants to reach out to them. Maybe they can set up private sessions. I'm going to ask, because I'm actually putting them on the spot with this, so that anybody who is interested, or other people, there are other people that I know who are psychotherapists that you can reach out to and say, please, I need help. I need help. I can recognize that there are some things that are not okay in my life and I need help. Let's normalize seeking help. Let's not start that thing that was done in our parents. Let's stop all of that. Let's make it okay for people to seek help. And then cases like this, like that poor innocent boy that was killed, like parents going to schools to go and fight their teachers. Parents like Kayo, they've been triggered when they remember something that happened 24 years ago and all of that. And even, like ladies being triggered by what Ron said. I didn't hear what Ron said. I'm going to have to watch it again. But, being triggered and everything, everybody, we can find a happy medium, So I want to say thank you to Ron, to Kayode, to Bumi, to Candy, and to Joan. Sorry, she came on but couldn't really see her. To everyone who's put in a comment: Denike Anderson, to Minino Silva, Brand Charity, Dabina Son of Rock. Forgive me, I couldn't say that properly. Veronica Closet. Hey, I didn't even know you were here. And to everyone who's been commenting, and of course to our special guests, to Greatness, Olorunfemi, thank you so much. And also to Omoba for coming in and really stepping in when Greatness couldn't do it. Thank you so much. Until we do this again, same time, same place.
She's trying
Mungalow
to
with Abby and friends.
Hold on.
Okay, that's I should hold on. Okay.
Hold on, she's trying to log in. Hold on. She
Who's
sent me a
trying to log in? Oh, Greatness.
Greatness. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
bye, people.
Omoba. I saw Omoba just now and then she left.
I should go
But
now.
Wait,
thank you so much.
I also
Thank you
want
for
to
the
say,
insight.
I want to protest that after being here bullied by Candy and Bumi, you guys just bullied me. You didn't have to express myself.
No vex, Ron. No vex. You'll be all right, Ron. You'll be all right. We love you.
Omoba, thank you so much.
Express myself.
You'll be fine.
Guys.
You're loved. You'll be all right.
All right, I gotta go pick Lincoln up. So.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you so much. We're rounding off, but I put you on the spot and said that I will put your details out in case anyone wants to reach out to you for help. Would that be okay, Ma?
Oh, that's fine. No problem.
Okay. Yes, we have one confirmation. Thank you so much.
Number to send to them. I'll give you the number.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we might be revisiting the subject again in future.
Yes, when we have a subject close like this, I'm definitely reaching out to you now that I know the connection there. So thank you so much. I know you are very, very busy. So it is such an honor, really an honor. Thank you so much. God bless you.
To be here as well. And thank you very much for the question.
Thank you. So, Mungalow Crooners, after party, after the show, let's meet up. Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. God bless.